Don't wish you had a jacket.
No, I won't. You have no idea. I can go right outside and live it.
No, I have.
See, I didn't want to step over people. I haven't saved on the.
No, I'm always.
I miss you.
I miss Julie. How are you?
Or you must have how big it's all.
Am I recording? Or-
And Shem and Larry on the, oh, that at the first love. Shem's one was, I thought you told, oh, that's hard. We were separated. Well, he was on the big business trip, that's separated.
Yes, thank you. I'm happy where I did.
Oh, okay.
You need to do that box.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, all
Yeah,
right.
you want
Good.
No.
You want me to pause then? Oh.
I do say.
Oh,
Yeah, but. Sometimes I'll make you one class, now we're done. See, then I'll read a book. Yeah. I go, I pay the best. I actually go to
energy tonight, that's all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yes. She's college.
He's about wise down. So I plan.
Now.
I was around that family.
The library stay in Lancaster on this. Yeah. But it's yeah.
Did just stay before I told you this too. My dad came with I can go, my sister's, I forgot my, what? He'll be here.
Oh.
That was my son dropping me off. You were walking outside. That was my son. He was dropping me off. I thought you'd turn around. I waved. And if you
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah, I waved, but you tried it. You could have that discussion. You did that. So we're both.
I keep my mouth, I kept my mouth shut. All I had to do, sometimes I had to do was, hey, how you doing today? Let me know whether it's a place good. And then when I don't speak, because they don't be a rude.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's all that.
My parents left. It's okay. What you have.
All over the pen. Actually, there's two copies. I don't know. Sure is now. Mine. Kind of. I'm just coming at it.
Yeah. Good. How you doing?
All right.
Good. Yeah. But I didn't know if you'd be interested in like. Yeah, I know. Inside or outside, it's.
Postmaster again.
In front of where? There's parking things. I haven't talked to the chief. Oh, I haven't heard back from the postmaster. But neither here nor there. Should have been on the agenda. There's a bunch of stuff that's not on the agenda.
Did your council for me? Good, glad to hear.
I go, yes.
Mr. Lee, I want to hit your name.
Okay.
I'll have a good driving later.
Hey, Bill. You see my email
I will take this up with the
this
solicitor.
afternoon?
Showing off on.
About what time it was?
It would have been like
We do not have any
4:35.
action.
It was late.
Public
Oh,
comment.
4:35 in the afternoon. It could be the B blast when the exhaust system does that. It's not the chiller.
It don't matter if it's-
Yesterday or Monday,
it was one crack at the podium.
the gal, if you see HOA person called me and she was trying to get the sound of it. It was like 4:45.
In the afternoon.
Yeah.
Specifically,
So,
But I couldn't hear it on her phone.
but the thing I can't figure out is if it's in the afternoon, is that okay, or it's not nighttime?
Well, evidently people were hearing it at night.
Oh,
correct.
so they-
She's supposed to be here. today.
Okay, well, the only thing I could think of is maybe put some soundproofing around it, because it's been there for years and they've used it for years. I will address it.
Yeah, yeah, well, and she's not here
I was
yet.
just trying to.
Oh, she is, okay. Thanks.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
It was in the money market. That's why we were falling out. Because we did not take it back. Participation of.
Hey,
We
Chris.
got it all that money out of Citadel to Pay our bills first quarter, January, February, March. But then tax revenue that's coming in tax.
Hey, Chris, how you doing? All right, how are you?
Great, great, great. Geez.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Lilligren. Good. Got your email on the doing trash commission.
He does like the summer jam.
Yeah.
I think the two of them.
Doing trash commission. Gloucester County, New Jersey,
Oh, yeah.
coming together and everybody collecting trash.
Yeah.
That's a little.
I'm doing a lot of little women in my life. I ain't never met a lot of little women.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
But I'm built different.
You want to do
The right one.
Beth? Beth? That's Mr. Hefner sitting next to you.
Who?
That's Bill Hefner sitting next to you. The noise.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, I checked that.
Yes.
Oh,
that was good.
Just sort of,
He didn't, he usually tells me.
then, on Monday, I heard a stand west, back, it was just outside of it, and that's really. It's not.
Change that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Part of the job description, that's familiarity with HVAC systems and hopefully that person has the capability of just putting it in at zero cost.
Gosh.
All right, exactly.
Okay.
Once we're out of winter, it's when we stand about everything for us in the rest.
God, it sucks.
I have a heated driving range for everybody else.
We know where to find.
Yeah, I know.
One was saying.
She's there.
Charlotte for work, so I need to get a bag. Oh, first of all, I don't fly anything from America. Job days. I'm going to go at home.
Man, is that crazy?
Well, physically, oh, no, yeah, I know. I get a feeling that in the next few months, the surgeon will want to see me again. But nothing's been, it's been bad, yeah, I'll see when that everything's going to be January.
Yeah, Shelley. Yeah, Shelley.
Write these down.
I understand. Here, I'll watch this behind you.
Yeah, it's all good. Thank
I'm not trying to trip you. You're gonna share. Good job. I have a message for you. Good.
Okay.
So- Good, you too. Time y'all get home.
Yeah, that
It's about 6:30. Yeah. Mhm. They want to be in that traffic, yeah. I don't know where Mr. Alley, but I'm going to.
the car was fine.
I'm just doing this is fruit. Let's not. I don't know where 3 hours, they're going to say, I'm going to throw it out. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Call to order. We have the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag
Borough manager, we can roll call.
Council Vice President Bernice Dickerson,
Present.
Councilor Douglas Eager,
Here.
Councilor Beth Ann Johnson,
Present.
Councilor Michelle Miller,
Here.
Council President Shantae Miller,
Here.
Councilor Michelle Roberts,
Present.
Councilor Walter Stubbs. I will mark him as absent, and I did receive a phone call from the mayor this afternoon. She has an engagement that she must attend and was unable to be at this evening's meeting. I'll mark her absent as well.
Okay, for announcements, we have the revised 2024 committee schedule. It should be attached to your agenda this evening. We do not have any presentations this evening. We'll now move on to the committee reports. Public Facilities and Infrastructure, Councilor Beth Ann Johnson.
Thank you. First item would be the COVID-19 ARPA Small Water and Sewer Grant. High priority infiltration and flow reduction project. So it was $262,057 with a 0% match, and the contracts with the DCED have been signed. Second item would be Aqua's contribution for the trench and road restoration at North Morton Avenue. Providence Road and Highland Avenue of $265,000. And the check is in the mail for that. The third item would be the replacement of the gas furnace in the foyer area here near the public restrooms. And we're gonna put the project on hold until we hire the Public Works Assistant Facilities person. So that way they can assist with the HVAC. The number 4 is the 2024 Morton Rutledge Road Program. The contract documents are being prepared by Catania Engineering, and the contract is to include signing and striping where permitted. The 5th item on the agenda would be the traffic signal at Woodland Avenue and Morton Avenue, Yale Avenue, which is experiencing operational issues. Due to a shorted wire under the railroad track, the signal service will continue to respond as necessary until a permit can be done. There's going to be a meeting with SEPTA, Signal Service, Catania Engineering, and the Morton Borough, that'll be scheduled for that. So more to come there. And then the creek clean out, there's been debris accumulating in the creek adjacent to the Enos Land Avenue Bridge. I know Mr. Johnson was out there today. So there will be a cleanup effort that will be scheduled in the near future to get it all cleaned up. That's all I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Moving on to Finance and Administration, Council Vice President Bernice Clark Dickerson.
Good evening.
Evening.
Yeah.
Our 2024 local real estate discount period ends 3/31/24. We want to make sure everybody remembers that. Our refuge trash fee discount period ends on 3/4/24. Again, keep that in your heads and write it down on your calendars. The first quarter sewer fee face value ends on 3/18/24. We sent out our RFP for banking services. Proposals are due in our office by 3/18/24. Our full-time public work assistant deadline to apply is 3/22/24. It's been advertised in the Spirit. You'll see it around the Borough Hall that is advertised, and I'm not sure, did it get on the website yet?
It's not been posted on our website, but I'm gonna take down the advertisement for the superintendent for the police, since that position has been filled, and the public works assistant for facilities will be added in its place.
Thank you. Then I had some other things to discuss that at our last meeting. Mr. Joe Borland had some questions that he wanted to ask, and as I told him, I will not answer directly then, but I will come back with information and take everything under advice. So I'm back with it. So I do have my answers for you, Mr. Joe Borland, and all the residents. As we said, in the face of transparency, when we ran for office, that we promised we will inform you of everything that's going on and what you do, what we've been working with. When we took office, we jumped right in. We had a lot of cleanup to do. There was a lot of things that were going on. And in review of the budget and previous budgets and what's been happening in the borough, there are things that we had to go in and change. We want to ask you, Mr. Borland, because you was on the previous council, a lot of things you asked, you could have answered yourself, because you voted on and you chose to do. So it could have been answered by you. All right, but I'm gonna go point to point for you so you understand what's happening. All right. As I said, we will not go tick to tack. This is part of my report, so I'll be doing it. We want you to understand that when we took office January 2nd, and in doing so immediately, we hit the books. We started right away. We met with all the staff. We met with the Stewart on down to his other staff, individually and together. So one of the things you talked about, and I told you we won't get into personnel issues because they're personnel issues, but we want the borough to understand that we had serious harassment going on. Serious harassment that was not to be tolerated. And we are blessed that no lawsuits were taken out. no taking out. And I thank this council here, because we all came in with a fresh point of view and said, we're starting here. We're not holding anything against nobody. We went through job descriptions. We went through what's going to be added on the job descriptions. And we never took anything away. So everybody is in agreement and we're working together. And I want to thank you and your staff, Mr. Stewart, for being open and having the honest discussions with us. Contrary to Mr. Bullen's recent emails, which happened on 2/8, 2/9, 2/15, and 2/16, and which he showed such contempt for present staff, we were not going to challenge it. We thank Mr. Bullen for his service, his due diligence at the time. But again, I say, Mr. Bullen, look to yourself for some of your answers. In reference to the financial issues on the budget, the following are the facts we need to address. The hiring of the chief occurred during your term. All right, the last two meetings of the year, you chose not to attend. So, well, it was one meeting,
Not one.
but you chose not to attend. So again, what happened during that meeting happened. Again, it was during your term in the previous council. All right, next, upon contacting everyone about the salary of the chief and the budget, we was informed the council emailed that the budget would not be affected by the chief's hiring. And I have your email that stated that. Okay, staffing concerns again are addition with the recommendation by the finance committee that we met with Mr. Stewart and we came up with that there was definitely a need for the full-time facilities person. What happened before then happened before then. What discussions you had then, you had then. When we sat down, we had new discussions and we determined what was best for this borough. Funding will be utilized for this position from various funding sources. As you heard Ms. Johnson read off, there are two grants that we have right now. Well, the grant of the 200 and, thank you. The APR grant, the sewer grant of $262,057. And then we have the Aqua Twitch grant, okay? And I'm gonna go into a little more detail with that. All right, that's for 265. What's happening with that is that we were able to fund the position because the sewer grant, we got the $199,000 from Mr. Stewart. Can you tell me where the 199? I'm looking at my notes. I'm jumping.
Yeah, sure, no problem, Counselor. Basically, we're receiving a contribution from Aqua in the amount of $265,000. Now that is to be relieving them from the obligation to having to do trench restoration or, you know, a patched overlay on the roads that were dug up for the water main replacement. Typically, a utility company will only pave a half a road. They will not pave from curb to curb. So in discussions with Mr. Catania, who was our engineer, he had estimated that $265,000 was a fair price or a fair amount offered by Aqua. And what we're able to do is to repair those roads with our liquid fuels money through the 2024 road program. So we've got approximately $199,000 in that account right now. The 265 that we received from Aqua was with no strings attached. So essentially what we're doing is being able to shift and repair those roads with liquid fuel money. And that would be what I would classify as unbudgeted revenue that we received in 2024.
Thank you. Next, we have $260,000 held over for the past 2 years that was held over by our previous council president, all right, for sewer repair. So we again have extra money that'll pay for the things that this council has come up with, all right? Next, the hiring of brinkers, again, was done during the previous council. We did not make that $100 per hour fee. We did not hire them. Again, you did not do your due diligence in determining what was best. We inherited this. Then Mr. Borland chose to only keep them and put them in the budget for 3 months with the hopes of himself coming in at $40 an hour to work as a bookkeeper for us. That is not acceptable. We had just 3 months budgeted, but thank goodness we have the other funding that we can come up with. And we are doing that as of now. We are still assessing the definite need for this company, or will we go with another one? 3 months is not enough time when you're just coming into office to determine right away to get rid of everybody. All right, next, healthcare for the officers. Gallagher has been contacted. They did a form. We need to plan. They promised us a plan that we could put back to back. All right, we're still waiting for it. We did send another request to get it to us. We are not on a deadline to have it done by March.
I'm sorry.
That was in your email. I'm addressing every point you sent me an email.
Could you elaborate?
That was not, as I said, we're not gonna go tit for tat.
No.
That's Gallagher's with the healthcare for the officers.
Right.
All right, we're
Okay.
waiting for their plan to come in, so we'll match on to it.
I think.
So that's it.
Question.
Meters. As reported at the last meeting, Chief Lawless and Mr. Johnson went out to do the meters. We were spoken to, were there any batteries? Did anybody ever try the old batteries that our previous council president, brought? Nobody could find the batteries.
They're in the.
All right,
they're in the
as I
file.
said, we could not find the batteries. We are going with the recommendation from Chief, hush, please, thank you. We're going with the recommendation from Chief Lawless in regards to the meters, and we'll be talking about that further on as we get closer to it. Unibilling.
Excuse me, Vice President,
Mhm.
for one moment. First, we're not doing that.
I just heard him say he was gonna stop somebody.
You
Right?
do a
That's what I
lot.
just heard him say.
We're not doing that. We have a decorum, okay?
Well, then somebody needs to keep.
No, somebody needs to let you know, and everybody. We're not acting out of turn. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. Okay. You have every right to speak up during open discussion. We don't need all that, okay? And before you continue, again, elaborating off of what was sent to us, our seats aren't even hot. Just hear us, and then you put yourself on the board, okay? Yeah, but when you do so, have respect. Because everything, Mario, you could be respected, but respect is given when given, okay? You're sitting there, you're saying things, cool, great for you. But we're gonna finish what we have to do, and we're gonna move along in the meeting, okay? I know I can go on, but obviously I have to address it. We're not doing it, okay? Thank you.
The unibilling issue. Unibilling was at fault for sending out the wrong information. Information was sent correctly to them. They chose to do it wrong. They apologized for that information and put it in writing. They knew they were wrong. And as my understanding, again, unibilling occurred under the previous council's term. They have made previous mistakes, several mistakes throughout your term. Again, we inherited, so we're looking at their service. As to the transferring of funds from one account to another, all right, at the end of the year, you usually find in municipalities that you're done used up all your money, which is you want to do. You want to make sure your money's used. But we have a $300 cash overage that we had left that carried over from the previous year. That's why money was transferred to make sure the bills would cover the beginning of the year. As the new tax season comes in, which is coming in, money is there to pay the bills. So that's not unusual that the transfer of the money was being done. And we want to make sure everybody understands that. That's normal. Okay? And only reason Mr. No, it wasn't you. I take that from you. That wasn't you, Mr. Boland. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Okay? I think that might be it. No, I got one more page, Mr. Boland. I think I do. So As we continue to talk and asking about where we're getting money, we're not in the budget. Understand, every time you do a budget with municipal funds, everything's not included in the general funds. Understand that. You're not including the grants. You're not including what's money that we asked for that hasn't come in yet. We did not include what's coming in for taxes. As known, we said we had that $300 cash that we had available to us. You chose to raise the taxes in 2 years that didn't need to be raised, even with the recycling. You chose to do it by 7.5, we didn't need to do it. The money was available for it that we could have kept everything even. So I want the residents to know that, and I've been doing this, I've been looking at the budget, I didn't just look at one. I want y'all to understand this. Understand how everything's been going. Transparency. We want you to know we're not hiding anything. We inherited this stuff. You expect us to make decisions and do everything, boom, that's not how you do it. I will never answer right away. I have to make sure I have my stuff ready. And that's how I work. Thank you. I'm finished.
Thank you, Council Vice President Bernice. Moving on to public safety, I do not have a report for this week. I'll move on to public health, sanitation, and recycling. Councilor Michelle Roberts.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Your February recycling report is to be presented at the next meeting. Second is your composting program offered by the Pennsylvania Resource Council. A date to be determined. I am going to refer to the borough manager.
That's actually a program that is being co-sponsored or coordinated with the Stormwater Authority. So I believe they're just working together to synchronize calendars and find out which date works best, but it's definitely a program that's going to be offered here at Morton.
That ends my report.
Okay, moving on to law and ordinance. Councilor Michelle Miller.
Law and ordinance has yet to meet. And the fee schedule is not attached to this.
Councilor Muller, that's my fault.
That's okay. It was attached to the last one. And
We
so,
did provide council with a comparison
Mhm.
of Morton's fees versus our neighbors. In the essence of time, we did not have an opportunity to make a determination of whether we're raising or keeping things the same. I'll have some recommendations for council at the next meeting to make very nominal changes.
yeah, and we weren't that much different, a lot of them, interestingly. Okay, parking issues on Country Lane. We don't have a police representative here tonight. So there's a couple of things we can't do about that, but it is something that going to figure out what to do with the parking in front of the mailboxes. I have not heard from the post office, even though I was told I was going to be sent some information from them. I'll stop back in there and talk to the postmaster because they do have regulations about parking in front of the mailboxes. And we will get that straightened out, whatever it takes, because that's a ridiculous problem. Then it's come up to parking issues on Silver Lake, that there's no parking on the street from 9 to 3, Monday through Friday. On the road, Silver Lake, which is between the Wawa and the eyeglass place, it's been a problem for years. And the Wawa, some of the employees park there, as do some of the residents of Silver Lake. At the same token, there used to be a problem with the people from the train parking there. So that went away for a while, and now it's evidently, it has suddenly come back somehow. It was been proposed that they're just going to start ticketing people. And my proposition to the chief, if he was here, would be, let's not do that. We may need an ordinance. I don't think it's fair to the residents at Silver Lake to suddenly start ticketing them because they've been allowed to park there for the last couple of years with no problems. And let us take care of it that way and then straighten it out. And in the meantime, offer them the offer of parking permits where they won't get ticketed to park along there because they, I'm not sure how many units there are, but they basically have sort of like 1.5 parking spots per building. So if you're in a household with 2 cars, then you have to be careful where you park. And if you're in a household with 3, then it's pretty impossible, just as it is in many other parts of Morton, depending on where you live. So I don't think it's fair to these people to ticket them. The Wawa employees would probably need to talk to Wawa a little bit, but because we know that parking lot gets very busy and those folks only have so many places to park, but it's the nature of the beast of all the people parking and driving. So to be fair to everybody. And lastly, I also wanted to mention that once again on Walnut Street at NS Laminates, we're getting complaints about trucks being parked on the sidewalk and not around the rear, and I'd like to talk to the chief about that. So I will send him an email tomorrow about that too. And we're also, Mr. Ewald and I had discussed looking at the dog leash law, because it's a little questionable about what our dog leash law is right now, if there even is one besides in the parks. So we'll bring that up at the next meeting in some detail. And if no one has any questions, that's my report.
Thank you. Community and Economic Development, Counselor Doug Eager.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Just a couple updates. The first one is the update on the comprehensive plan and zoning ordinance on the CDBG funding. I have not received any updates as of now. We're waiting for the scheduling of the meeting because the last one was canceled. I did receive an email earlier tonight from Mr. Guy about when we're going to try to have it. And we're waiting for, I think his name is Orion Mulhenny from Polygroup Engineering. Waiting for that to be scheduled. So as soon as we hear something, we will let you know.
Yeah, so I did receive an email
Oh.
this afternoon. He'd like to confirm the 13th of March, which will be our next, be our regular meeting in March. I don't see any reason why we could not do that at 6 o'clock. So if it's your pleasure, I will confirm with him that we will have that meeting on the 13th. That should be the last meeting of the steering committee. And they would be in a position to deliver their final report to us in April. So 3/13 at 6 o'clock, I'll update the minutes, or this Preston will update the minutes, and I'll put it on the borough calendar for the 13th.
Okay.
I'd like
6 p.m.
to suggest that maybe we need to hear from some of the people on the steering committee to make sure they can make that meeting, the residents, before you set it in stone, because there's a few of them aren't here and they're not online. If you don't mind me saying so, because I've attended some of those meetings.
Madam President, if I could suggest, most of the heavy lifting on this project is completely done. This is going to be a wrap-up meeting, just to provide the final information to the residents and then deliver the report in April. This is a report that we were supposed to have done in December of next year. So time is a little bit of the essence, especially with future grant opportunities, because we would need to have this comprehensive plan in place if we were to be chasing other grant opportunities. So if you
Wrap it up.
Yeah. Well, maybe just to check with people, just to let them know that this is it. And hopefully they can arrange their schedules if they can be.
You can put it on the website.
Yeah.
Let's
wrap that up.
No, these people have to get email.
Okay. And the next is the update on the DVRC, which I think is related to this, correct?
That is one of the reasons why we want to wrap up the comprehensive plan.
Right,
It's
yeah.
going to be a joint effort between Springfield Township and Morton Borough. It's an opportunity through the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission. And that would be to do the some type of development that's related directly around the train station.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, thank you. So we'll wait for that. Also, the council is getting new email addresses. Everyone's gonna have a new one at some point if they don't already. They should be up and running. If they're not, let me know and I can assist with that. But the new emails will be the following format. It's gonna be the first initial and the last name at mortonborough.org, and borough is spelled just BORO.org. So keep that in mind. I am gonna send that out to the people online, but you have it in your brochures there, pamphlets, and just keep an eye on that.
Counselor, my apologies, it's another little typo in the agenda here, is
Okay.
that it's actually at Morton, BOROPA .org. So I'll
Okay.
again update the agenda and the meeting minutes to reflect the PA at the end. The other, just want to make sure that everybody understands, your old email address is still active. So if anybody was to send an email to the Morton, our mortonpa.org address, our IT person has automatically rerouted or forwarded those emails to your new email address. And then the other thing, and I know this is probably a concern of the solicitor, is that all old emails have been archived and saved. So in the event that we do have to go back and look at an email that was received or sent for any reason, we still have all of those old emails archived. Nothing has been deleted.
And each individual can access them?
The old email address would have to be coordinated through our IT person.
Well, that's, if you've been working on something for a while or you need somebody's old address, you have to contact the IT guy to get on. Why would that be?
To access your old emails, yes, the archived emails.
What a lot of work. Okay. That's crazy.
And last is the update on the website and social media upgrades. There's been a couple websites that we've been looking at, trying to get everything upgraded and going. There's talk of hopefully being the end of March for a launch date. So we're hoping to reach that. We're in talks of looking at the website, making sure we like what we see. And Mr. Stewart, do you have any updates on the website as far as that we need to know, or not at this time?
Nothing of detail at this time. I have had the opportunity to kind of get presentations from both local web developers as well as developers that have a national presence for making websites specifically for municipalities. Mrs. Dickerson and I have had the opportunity to sit in on a couple presentations. So once we kind of get the short list together, we'll develop an overall pricing scheme and then some pros and cons for reasons why we would suggest or walk away from certain proposals. And I think we'd have some solid answers to everybody here before the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. And last, it's kind of short notice, but we're hoping to hold an event on March 10th in the gym here for both Black History Month and Women's History Month. It's kind of short notice, so we're putting those two together. I've reached out to some people to see if they have any ideas on what to kind of bring to the table. Somebody from the Black Student Union at Springfield High School has been in contact. They're going to try to get some of the students to maybe do some presentations. So if anybody in the community has anything that they want to bring forward, feel free. We have a couple ideas floating around, but again, it's short notice, so we're just going to try to maybe do the best we can. It's going to be at 1 o'clock, and it's going to be after the cheerleaders kind of wrap up their thing in the gym on March 10th. That's a Sunday. So yeah, so that's all I have tonight.
Madam President, Councilor, one other event that I failed to conclude on the agenda would be the 22nd of March. That is the event that Miss Lisa Lockley is
23rd.
sponsoring. I'm sorry, 23rd of March. That's the event that Miss Lockley is sponsoring for the dedication of the Walnut Street in the honor of William E. Wrights, the airman that passed away last year just prior to his 99th birthday. So that'll be on Saturday, March 23rd at 10 a.m.
And also following that, at 12 o'clock is a meet and greet with the new council or all of council. So we will be there if you want to come by and say hi.
We'll have snacks.
And I think that's it. Any questions from council?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it.
Moving on to Parks and Recreation, Councilor Walter Stubbs is not here. I can elaborate a little bit on the Delco Greenways. I understand that the gentleman did come out over the weekend, took a look at the grounds, kind of gave you more, Mr. Stewart, a detailed kind of explanation of what would happen. It looks like 180,000 with zero match for the Jacobs Park Delco Greenway Round 4. contract has been executed, so, the request is for 40% of the funds has been submitted. And, the contract with Amazing Grazing Goats is being reviewed. I think this is an awesome thing for us. I'm excited for it. Not that it's a pet and zoo, but I definitely wouldn't mind showing my kids, what they're gonna do, and we definitely need to clean up at Jacobs Park. It's the start to a lot over there, but I'm excited about it. I appreciate it, starting. I know Counselor Michelle Miller had a great deal of interest in this project and was very much involved. So I think it's awesome, and I can't wait, to watch it develop.
They'll be here for about a week.
Just for a point of clarity,
Yeah.
it's the goats is a fraction of the cost. It's not $180,000.
Love the fraction of the cost.
That is step one. Basically, the recommendations we got from Davy Tree Resource, or Davy Resource Group, in trying to maintain and promote a healthy urban forest. The first order of business would be to remove the ground cover or invasive species. So there's a lot of English ivy that has covered not only the ground, but it's growing up in the trees of sycamore. And as Councilor Stubbs has pointed out in previous meetings, there's a lot of poison oak, poison sumac, poison ivy that is in Jacobs Park. I wouldn't think that a goat would like sticker bushes, but apparently that's a delicacy for goats. And so all of that sticker bush and Japanese pawpaw that, seems to overtake Jacobs Park in the very early spring will all be eradicated in a very natural manner. It's the way of doing it instead of going out there with an herbicide or pesticide. We will welcome a herd of between 20 and 25 goats into Morton Borough for approximately a month to a month and a half, depending on how hard the foreman goats work them.
I thought he said like 8 days.
8 days in Sycamore and at least 3 weeks in Jacobs.
Jacobs, huh?
He's gonna do Jacobs in 3 different sections. We're gonna have the section along the fence line.
Right.
We're gonna have the section around the cell tower, and then we'll have the section on the backside of the picnic.
Mhm.
So they're gonna have to be set up as 3 separate operations.
Yeah.
And he's looking at least 10 to 14 days in each one of those areas.
Oh, what fun.
Yes.
Yeah, the goats are actually fenced in. And at night they'll electrify the fence to protect the goats from leaving. But during the day you can go up to them, and they're very much like dogs. That if you smile at them, they'll smile at you. Do not feed them azaleas or rhododendrons. Absolutely not. That's poison to them. And you also don't feed them apples and they're not like horses. You don't give them carrots and stuff. But this will just be great fun. They have that many of them, and they all have name tags, just like the trees are all name tagged too, by the way, right, from Davies. So this will just be, a bunch of goat herders here.
That's great. Awesome. All right, thanks. Moving on to action items. We do not have any action items scheduled for this evening. Upcoming meetings and events, March 6th, we do have our Parks and Recs committee meeting. The 13th, we will have our regular council meeting at 7 p.m. And the 27th, we will also have our council agenda meeting at 7 p.m. We will move on now to our open discussion. First with, it looks like Mario Camino. Mr. Stewart. You need to go together for us. I want to make sure you get your time, so let him get that for you.
Mario Samito, 46 South Morton Avenue. Pretty much, I think everybody knows I'm a retired borough council president, and I know this is a new council. But democratic norms are an endangered species these days. Most of you probably saw Mitch McConnell is stepping down from his leadership position in the Senate. Mitch McConnell's legacy will be undoing, to the country's detriment, more democratic norms than anybody I know of in a lot of study of American history. That big X there is a big change in democratic norms in the Borough of Morton. I don't know what that's about, but I hope, council has a good explanation why, you don't want to hear from the public before you take action or you deliberate on action items. And you can give me the answer that you're just, going with the letter of the law, but we've always been, more, open than that in Morton Borough, at least in the 20 years I've been involved. So this is upending policy of half dozen previous councils, at least, maybe more than that. So I hope you have a serious explanation for wanting to shut down half of the public's opportunity to comment on the business of council. Since you've already gone ahead with this, I see, and nothing's been said about it. Thank you.
Mario, council will continue to have a public comment at the beginning of every meeting. The public comment at the beginning of every meeting, though, is devoted to action items, and there were no action items, no votes tonight. So there's a full opportunity for open discussion at this point, but there were no votes to comment on. And I think that's why there was a next there.
It's still a change in democratic norms that have been the norms of Morton Borough for 2 decades plus.
Thank you.
I don't know, we're in 4 to 5 meetings in now. This is the first meeting where you've seen that. That means nothing. It doesn't mean that we are shutting it down at all. So,
All right, I'll take that.
yeah, that means nothing. We just had nothing today. Okay, so I understand your question. I didn't put the X there. I apologize if it offended you, but that is not the case. And I want to assure you that is not the case.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Madam President, just as a point of clarity, and you and I had discussed this earlier this afternoon, is that council meets 2 times a month. Typically, you would meet in a workshop or an agenda meeting where you would publicly debate things that you would put on the action item for the following meeting. For the last few years, we have been kind of taking action items on a regular basis at both our regular meeting as well as our agenda meeting. I believe that based on the conversation you and I had, is we're trying to shift away from taking action items at a workshop or an agenda meeting and reserving that action for just the regular meeting.
So it is a policy change.
Thank you. Next, it looks like Dee McCleary.
Yeah, I know I'm next in line, but we have the president of the condo association here, which I believe that she probably should start, and then we can proceed from there, if that's okay.
Is she on the board?
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. Yep. Come on up.
Hi, Beth McMullen. I'm the president of the Silver Lake Condominium Association. I think Michelle mentioned that we have parking issues on our street. And just to give you a little history, it goes back quite a number of years when prior to the Church Road Park being built and the parking lot up there. We had a lot of commuters that parked on our street. It ended up that there were signs put up that there's limited 2-hour parking during the week, during the hours of 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Initially, cars were ticketed. That faded quickly because there was a lot of pushback from residents who parked their cars on the street and also from the workers at Wawa who all park on the street up there. If you're familiar with that Wawa, which I'm sure you are, their parking area is very small. So if all their employees parked in the lot, there wouldn't be room for customers. So the ticketing of cars stopped. And it's been that way for several years. So that's the history. Now, I talked to Chief Lawless the other day. He was out there and the ticketing, he was ticketing cars. He was a very nice, very reasonable man. So he indicated, I said, well, I see two solutions, either remove signs. Since the Church Road Park is there, the parking lot, it seems like many of the commuters go there. So we don't know if, for sure, if they would come back to Silver Lake. But the other solution would be to give permits to the residents who live there. Because many of them, it's closer for them to park on the street than to park in their spot in the lot. Each unit is assigned one spot and the others are up for grabs. There aren't enough spots for everyone to have two spaces. There just aren't. Several owners, you have two cars, sometimes more. There are very few people who don't have a car, but there are few. So I propose either solution and ask you to consider that to resolve this problem. It's not right for residents who are taxpayers in the borough of Morton to be ticketed for parking on their street. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your time.
Good timing.
Dee, did you want to?
Yeah, okay. Mine is simple. Well, yeah, there's 3 different, commercial vehicles that park in the cul-de-sac overnight. You have Pico, like that runs for the fire department. You have Crane One, which is 24-hour, crane service, actually does it through, does it for, Andrew Air Force Base. He gets called out the underground, bunkers and stuff like that. And the third one is a landscaping. Again, when we talk about the permits, I didn't know if a permit could be allowed for those vehicles because Mike's vehicle, Pico, is a 24-hour. He's the one that dispatches the people overnight. Crane One is a 24-hour, and the landscaping, as long as we're out of there between the 9 to 3, which is important for the businesses also to run their businesses that have parking, and the train, would that be allowed? I know there's what do you call it? An ordinance. It's 15-1202 about any advertising on a vehicle, in a community could be ticketed. But on a permit basis and out of there between that hours of what that sign says, again, I just ask if it would be allowable. Because we did receive a $400 ticket, but that was had the wrong address. The officer wrote Kedron Avenue, which is 420. So, but I just wanted to ask that if that would be okay, just consider. That's all. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. And I would say, I really love this council. I've only been down here 3 times in 32 years. That's all.
Appreciate you.
All right, thank you for your time.
Ms. Todd, looks like you're up next.
Cecilia Todd, 110 Althea Lane. I have a community interest message that I would like to deliver to council and to the members in the community. Mike Saletti ran for council in the last election, and he needs a kidney, and he's really, really sick. So if you know anybody that might consider donating a kidney or consider looking into information about donating a kidney, it's really important. He's been pretty sick over the last week, and I just wanted to mention that. Secondly, I wanted to say that I appreciate the transparency, Mrs. Dickerson, that you presented tonight. I hope that this council continues to work in the manner that you presented tonight. I appreciate the answers that you gave the citizens, not only to Mr. Boylan, but to everybody. I think most of us understood what your message was. And we appreciate the efforts that you're all taking to make things better in our town. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Jackie Guy.
Hey guys, 635 Country Lane. So we have this is about the school district. So we have 2 budget meetings coming up that are going to be dealing with the next tax year. The first one, unfortunately, I can't make the CDBG because it's the 13th of March, 6 p.m. at the district conference room. If anybody is interested, Mr. Hefner, you're one of the biggest taxpayers here, so please feel free to come as well. That one is the 13th of March. We have another one, which will be on the 7th, sorry about that, on the 17th of April. Also at 6 o'clock. These will be the two dealing with our taxes. If you're interested in how our budgeting works at the district, where the money comes in, how the money goes out. This would be where you can have your input, you can have your say, you can talk about things and really learn about what's going on in the district as far as the budgeting. So those meetings are open to everyone in the borough, all of our taxpayers, all of our stakeholders. The other question I had real quick was about the Wawa. Have we come to any conclusions yet about that? I think it was a road thing that was supposed to go on about an opening. I remember they talked about it a little bit last time. I didn't see it. I don't know if that's for the action, for the next meeting. I was curious if anything had happened on that.
So there's no action for Borough Council to take. That's a ministerial duty of the Borough Engineer's Office. It's just a road opening permit. There is no land development application or anything before council. So it's essentially complete. The next step is that council's going to have a town hall type meeting with the residents of those neighborhoods. Obviously, anyone's willing to, anyone's open to come, but especially they want to get some feedback from the people on the streets that are affected, because there's proposed traffic calming measures that would go in.
So they agreed, they approved the left-hand turn onto Providence?
Well, yes.
I mean, whoever signed off, not this
they-
council. I meant whoever the engineer was that signed off on it.
They approved the street opening permit, and ultimately, the development was approved by Springfield.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Joe Boylan?
Good evening, Joe Boylan, 23 Althea Lane. I need to just correct the record because there were a number of misstatements tonight. First off, not that it's anybody's particular business, but I crafted the 2024 budget every single line in public with full support and knowledge of council. To the degree that anything changed after the preliminary budget was approved, I didn't have any role in that. I was sick in bed on December 27th, so I could not make the last meeting of the year. And I missed all of Christmas week with my family, just for the record. When I was running these sessions, especially in October, I emphasized to council the need for continuity. That there was going to be a lot of change when you came on board, that you weren't going to know everything, that you would need support beyond the end of the year. What I had proposed at one of the meetings for staffing, whichever one that falls under building, I guess, was that Brinker Simpson was too expensive at $100 an hour. That nobody knew the bills in the accounts as well as I did, and that I would be willing to take over for Brinker Simpson as we entered the new year. Most of council was supportive in that moment of continuity. I budgeted because there was some pushback. I said, let's go till the end of March. That gives you 3 months in 2024 to find a replacement. And I mentioned to Mrs. Miller, you should run this ad in November to try to find somebody. Now I'm hearing tonight that 3 months is not enough time to find a replacement. And yet you determine the need for a new full-time hire and place the ad in 4 weeks. So somehow 12 weeks is not enough time to find a replacement for the bookkeeper, but 4 weeks is plenty of time for a full-time worker. The money that was at Citadel was COVID money. We specifically could not use that money to reduce taxes. So when you talk about what we could have done in terms of not raising taxes, we could not use COVID money for that. Just so you know.
You didn't have to raise it.
I'm sorry?
You didn't have to raise it. Go on. I'm sorry.
Raising the taxes was approved by all of council.
Right. That's what
All
I
of
said.
council.
That's all she's saying.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
that wasn't my decision. The emails that I sent to you, I forwarded to you to demonstrate to you that the personnel issues that I referenced in my earlier emails, I was contact with council and I documented it in writing. I was in contact with the office and I documented it in writing. I was just putting those issues that I had already raised and already been discussed, as have other members on council in executive session. I was forwarding them to you for information purposes.
Thank you.
So however nasty you might have thought those topics to be, they were in full view of the office and council.
Thank you, Mr. Boylan.
One final thing, I recommended strongly last year that we move away from uni billing. They're terrible. They manifested their terribleness again this year. So when you talk about things happening under quote, our watch or my watch, as I felt like most of that commentary was directed at me, I've been advocating for months that we move away from uni billing.
Thank you. And just to kind of like clarify, what was meant about the email. You are correct in saying you did forward the information. However, we're not specifically speaking about those emails.
Okay.
We're speaking about the emails that we received once we were sworn in. One particular, just one, and it was nasty. Whether or not you wanna, we're not gonna go back and forth with you.
Agreed.
You know, I'm sure you're aware of what you said, right? Anytime we say something, we're fully aware of what we're saying.
Yes.
And that's what we were referring to, going back to the last meeting when I said we needed to be respectful. I think we may know that. I mean, you wrote the email, we didn't, you sent it to us, right? We
Yeah.
didn't look for you, you were looking for us.
Agreed.
So-
I'm sorry, could I just have another 5 seconds?
Yeah, let me just finish what I'm
Sure.
saying.
Okay.
Cause I am gonna give you that, but just understand what we're saying here. A lot of the things that you asked of us are the same things that you may have asked yourself in the past council. So it would not be fair to assume that we would have the answers that you yourself would have previously, because we just got here.
Agreed.
And that's your tone in the email that you sent to us.
The
So-
spirit of it is continuity. Right?
Okay.
They're everything, go back and read the emails, everything in there were things that I didn't think you knew,
Okay,
okay?
right, thank you.
And I think
We're
that's
just
one-
talking about the comments. We're specifically speaking about the comments that were made regarding new council members, okay?
Optics, the optics section.
Right, that's your opinion.
Agreed.
We don't have the facts. So we just want to steer away from verbally attacking people that we do not know. We're all human beings, okay?
Understood.
That's it. So that's it.
No, I just have one other thing to add.
That's it. I don't want to go back and forth. That's
No,
it.
no,
We're
no,
going to
no,
move
no.
on because we're doing a great job at keeping these meetings contained. You get to come back again and again and again. So we're going to cut that off and I appreciate that. Thank you. I do believe Beth, Beth came up already. You were one of the first for this.
Yes.
Okay, Chris, you will be next.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I live on 1011 Kenya Avenue. I'm kind of nervous. I was nervous speaking. Presenting Morton Summer Jam, the 3rd annual Morton Summer Jam. Currently me and my new staff, we're coming up with the budget, so we should have the budget done by the end of the week, hopefully preferably by tomorrow, but if not, by the end of the week. The budget for Summer Jam. This year is about one more. Everybody, it's about everybody. It's been like that for years, but I want to make sure emphasize that we're all one more. We're, all residents, so we want to make sure that everybody's invited to come out and have a time with us. Bring your children along, bring your families along, everybody's invited to come out and enjoy yourselves. It's going to be on July 28th, 2024, excuse me, and from 12 to 8. 12 to 7 is going to be the show and breakdown. We'll have breakdown time from 7 to 8. Last year we had a swift breakdown as far as everything, and I made sure that everything was out on the dot. So that's my thing. We asked everybody, those who want to, if anybody have children that want to be involved, to come out and volunteer to put up stuff and also to perform. We have about 14 slots of people who are performing. We also keep open for local artists and residents to perform shows as well. So, like I said, we're in the middle of budgeting and also in the middle of putting together the I'm nervous, forgive me. putting together the information. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay. Mr. Hefner.
Bill Hefner, 571 South Old Milltown Road, Media, PA. I own 4 properties here in Morton, 1 north, 200 north, 211 Yale, and 217 Yale. For people who are new. I do have a question regarding the police and their 10% contribution. I believe it's in the contract that they're to kick in 10% of their healthcare costs back to the borough. Is that being done?
It's in process. The contract requires that the borough offer an alternate policy to the police that is at a 90% cost, so that they don't have to kick in anything. So the borough gets the savings, but the police don't have to kick in.
When will this be accomplished?
I'm very frustrated with the insurance carrier because we contacted them several weeks ago, and they're still in the process of creating it. So I've been pestering,
So
people
this
hate
doesn't
my
occur,
they
does
see
that
my
go
email
back?
and they hate it because they know exactly what I'm asking.
They know, but if they don't respond, are you gonna find a different carrier, or are you just gonna go retroactive because you can't get anywhere with the current insurance carrier?
Yeah, I mean, I expect that we'll have something any day now from the insurance carrier, right? So.
The last correspondence I received was the 14th of February. She said she would have it by the end of the week. I will make a phone call and follow up with her in writing again to make sure that she turns that information in. But, Madam Chair and Solicitor Eagle, one thing we need to remember is that once we have the information, we have to pass it on to the Fraternal Order of Police. They're gonna take it back to the lodge. So it's not gonna happen instantaneous. It's gonna be a several month process. If I had to guess, I would guess that the police would probably drag this out until the end of the year when the contract is to be renewed.
Absolutely.
With all due respect, it's in the contract from 2012. They should be paying it. Yes. Period. It's not like they're gonna say, we won't have any insurance coverage until you strike a new deal. They're being covered by insurance. It's $20,000 to the borough. Period.
Carl, I think you have a better understanding than all of us in regards to what the language in the contract states. And I just want you to kind of re-clarify exactly when that 10% premium would kick in.
It's not gonna kick in until the alternate plan is made available. I'm not gonna take a position that it can be dragged out. I'm gonna push for them. I'm gonna say, here's the options that are available. You have until the end of the month to make your election, and, at that point, they'll make their election, and we'll proceed forward.
So therefore, I can ask this question at the next meeting that we have.
You can ask that question every time.
Okay, and one quick question, did we ever get 990 forms from the fire company? Or any response?
No.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Solicitor, I don't know if you would know this off the top of your head, but do you have an idea of approximately when that contract change was made? Whereas the borough would provide an alternate plan for the police department. I'm pretty
It's in the
sure it was
2012 contract, but there was no employee who qualified for it until recently. Because all the police employees were either grandfathered or so young that they were under their parents' policies or instead.
And Scott took the reimbursement.
Right. That's it.
All right. Meeting adjourned?
So
Yeah, we have the most so moved, so, yeah.
Guess none of us had a chance to see him.
Yeah.